Alright, shalawam. First off, I want to say all praises to Yahawah, bahasham Yahawashi, bahasham Kodash, double honors to our apostles and elders at GMS, to the elect doing the work in sincerity and in truth, shalawam. This GMS precepts, Nazar Chad here, and I got this article here. Let me put this on. Article, as you can see, about Poland. Right, they're gearing up. Right, why are these nations gearing up for war? Why is Poland uh, have plans? Let me just read the title. It says Poland's Tusk, I believe it's like the prime minister, right? Prime Minister of Poland. He says, Prime Minister, Poland's Tusk plans a large-scale military training for all adult males to boost reserves. Oh, that reminds me of another scripture in the Apocrypha when it speaks about, I believe it's 2nd Ezra 16. Let me get that. 2nd Ezra 16. Right? You're going to have a lot of death here, man. In the future, in these coming wars, you're going to have a lot of people not make it. You're going to have a lot of death. The scriptures speak about that, man. Let me go to, I believe it's 16. Um, excuse me. Is it that? Hold on, let me put this in the version. Give me 1 second. Excuse me. I didn't plan on this scripture. Um, when it speaks, or is it 15? When it speaks about the loss of, here it is. I believe this is, and there shall be no man. This is 2nd Ezra 16. I'm gonna just go to here because I don't want this to be a little. Here it is. Is this it, man? I'll just start here. It says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung. Let me go up a little bit to get the full. You know what? Let me start here. I'm going in the spirit. This is 2nd Ezra 16 and 17. It says, "Woe is me, woe is me! Who will deliver me in these days?" And this is a prophet Ezra, and he's being shown a vision of what's to come in the latter days. You know, he was given quite a few visions, man. So much so that so vivid he felt sick. You know, he felt he felt worried. You know, which he felt worried about his own safety in that time because he said, who's gonna deliver me in those days, right? Showing you that the prophets, it was well known of reincarnation. It was a common common knowledge, right? So continue on. It says verse 18. It says the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? You know. So we're approaching some bad times. You know what? Let me go into this article here. Look at this article right here. Right. Is this playing? It says Trump and his allies hint at economic pain ahead for Americans. While top officials have framed any economic disruption as short term and necessary for long term prosperity, the comments go against Trump's campaign rhetoric. Right? So it says Trump and his allies hint at what? Economic pain. It's going to be 2025 is gonna be rough, to say it lightly, right? And we got wars and rumors of wars going on right now. It's gonna be a lot of pain and death, man. And all this is just what this speaks about it being what, the beginning of sorrows. Okay, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. Right? Because the powers are going to stand in fear, meaning the rulers of the earth, the kings of the earth, they're going to stand in fear because everything is not in their control anymore. Okay? They're not in control anymore. You just had Musk shoot up a rocket, uh, uh, um, SpaceX, and by video you you could see chariots flying around it before it exploded. You know, they're not in control, man, and the Most High is showing Esau. That's why the powers are standing in great fear, because they're being shown by Yahawashi that you ain't in control. I am. Okay? It says, the beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are what are sent as scourges for amendment, right? Scourges for amendment. Amendment is like a correction, and a scourge is like a beating or being struck, you know, in a form of chastisement. So this is what the Most High is doing. He's getting ready to judge the earth. He's getting ready to judge the earth. He's getting ready to judge the rulers of the earth right now. Which the rulers of the earth right now is none other than the Edomites, as well as all the other nations, right? They're all going to get judged. Even 2/3 of our people. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. You know, all will be judged by the Most High, right? It says, behold, famine and plague. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent for what? Scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good and cheap upon the earth, that they shall think of themselves to be in a good case, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth. Sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other shall escape. The other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. That's not really the scripture I wanted, but it's still in context to what I'm speaking about the wars, man, and how there's going to be a lot of death. It might be 2 Ezra 15, but I'm not gonna spend all day. It's speaking about how the men shall die in the war. You know, I believe it's 2 Ezra 15. It might be 15. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, let me just go ahead with the video. So going back, let me go back here. Poland kind of went off script here, but it's all in spirit. So right, so you got Poland here. What are they preparing for? Mind you, this is CNN.com. I'll leave the article in the description. But you got Poland here preparing for what? For he plans on large scale military training for what? All adult males. All right, and all these males, just like they dropping dead in Ukraine, they gonna drop dead. And let me show you. Well, let me just slow down and let me go into this article here. Um, It says Prime Minister Donald Tusk said Friday that his government is working on a plan to prepare large-scale military training for every adult male in response to the changing security situation in Europe. Tusk told the country's Sejm, the lower house of parliament, that the military training will create a reserve force that is adequate to possible threats. Because you gotta understand where Poland is, and that's why I put this map up here. You gotta understand where Poland is. Poland is really, really close. Here's Poland right here. You got Ukraine right here, Belarus, Belarus, and then you got the Baltic states, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. They all border Russia. Ukraine, Belarus, and the Baltic states. They all border Russia right here. So if Ukraine gets taken over, boom, then that means Russia is right on their at their doorstep, right? So they feel threatened by the situation going on in Ukraine, right? Because Ukrainians are getting their ass whooped, right? So they're like, okay, we gotta start upping the ante. Let me go to this one, right? And this is what some NATO troops. Also, this is the reason why. What map is this? And this is the reason why Ukraine wants to join NATO, and that's why Russia said if Ukraine joins NATO, it's on, like Donkey Kong, um, right? Because they not having it. That's way too close. That's way too close to us, Russia. Right? No, so let me, because it goes into these NATO countries. Let me continue on with this article. Right? It says, Tusk that the military would training will create a reserve force that is adequate to possible threats. It says the speech. It says, excuse me. It says the speech was focused on the international security situation. It says, excuse me. It says the speech was focused on the international security situation. Poland is located along NATO's eastern flank and is deeply concerned by the war in Ukraine. Now, like I just showed you in the map here. Oh well, let me show you this one. This is NATO's eastern flank, right? This is the eastern flank of NATO, right? So if you could just imagine the blue, all the countries in blue, they're all like states. They're all one, which essentially, them being part of NATO, they are, right? So you got the Baltic states, you got Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Then you got Poland. Then you got Romania, Slovakia, all this. So this is the eastern flank of NATO. Okay, and like I said, this is why Ukraine wants to join NATO, because they'll have that protection, right? And really, it does benefit NATO if Ukraine is part of it. Even but Belarus, it would benefit them if if they were part of NATO, because they would it's it is militarily, you're surrounding your enemy even more. But Russia knows that. That's why they want no nigga. They said, yo, if they join NATO, it's World War III, right? So so going back to this article, the eastern flank, they feel pressure. This is Poland. They like, yo, we gotta we gotta build ourselves up, man, because it's not looking good for Ukraine right now. Or else, why would they want to conduct or plan large scale military training if everything was all good? It says Poland is located along NATO's eastern flank and is deeply concerned by the war in Ukraine. There are fears that if Ukraine is defeated, Russia will turn its imperial ambitions next to countries like Poland, which it controlled during the 19th century and during the Cold War. Right. So, um, you pretty much get the gist with that. And this is another map. This is another map of NATO's eastern flank, which is the Baltic states. The Baltic, because this is the Baltic Sea, and these are considered the Baltic states: Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, which border Russia. Then you got Poland. Then you got Slovakia, Hungary. Then you got Romania and Bulgaria. This is the eastern flank of NATO. Okay. Then it shows you how much troops they have in each one. But Poland is a big landmass. If they take over Ukraine, right? Poland is the next biggest one in this whole region. So if they take this over, right? It's not looking good for them. In Estonia, these Baltic states are they're not. That's not even really a takeover. That's like it's gonna be easy. Okay, if Russia takes that over, that's gonna be like they'll do that overnight, man. Because they're not really war minded. They're not war ready. Um, but anyway, going back here, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I got a scripture in Isaiah 2, right, which also proves. I'll just read it. I always usually bring this out too. This is Isaiah. This is Isaiah the second chapter, and it goes into. This is how you know, like, if this is how you know that the people that are calling themselves, the small hats over there in our land, they're not the true people, because if there's going to be peace when the true people are in the land, and there's not peace right now, right? So I'm gonna go straight to the point. This is Isaiah 2:4, and it says, "And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore." And that's clearly not happening now, when you have Poland's prime minister planning large-scale military training for all adult males to boost their reserves, right? And the reason why they're boosting, or they feel like they have to boost their reserves, is because the ongoing situation in Europe, with Ukraine, Russia and Ukraine, it's not looking good, and they're overly concerned because they are in the eastern flank of NATO, and in the eastern flank, they're what? They're the biggest country. So if they get taken over also, and like I said, these three states, they're not war ready. That's going to be easy takeover. So if they get taken over, it's gonna be over, right? So, all right, that's pretty much it. I'll leave this article in the description. Hopefully, brothers and sisters were edified. To the next show, shalawam.